perfectly 100%. I think Kenya runs the most amorphous costly elections every cycle. I've never understood as to why, because looking at it critically and having also served as a member to the Public Accounts Committee, having invested in a system which we all agree it's most perfect, because once you have a system whereby you can authenticate through biometric means, then it means at least you know the voter actually appeared and he voted. As to the influence in the voting, all depends also on the candidates and their agents. So this system costs, the initial input cost on the system is presumed to be high. But after you have acquired the system, I don't know what else becomes expensive. Maybe we might need, because looking at it critically on the information that I'm privy of, if you look at even the pending bill of IEBC, out of a pending bill of around 18 billion, you will get like 15 billion are legal fees. Mm-hmm. So, and that's a pending bill. If you look at the total budget of IEBC, quite a chunk, maybe up to around 50%, will go to the legal fees. So, if we can address that component alone on legal fees, it will really cut down on the cost of the elections. And I have not known why we have all these, because you will also look at the charges, the cost that the lawyers give to IEBC. They are crazy. You will sometimes get somebody billing around 500 million.
But look at this process, for example, voter registration. Yeah. 9.6 billion shillings to register about 6.3 million voters in total, which comes down to about more than 1,500 shillings to register one person.
That's why it's upon the Legal and Justice Departmental Committee to be able to look at that budget and scrutinize so that they can tell us which is this costly thing that is so costly to do. Because I believe the systems are there in terms of the only thing that you require is the human expenditure, that is the clerks and people who are registering. Mm-hmm. So the figure alone is huge. So what now remains is for the respective oversight committee to be able to look at now critically, why should we be able to spend you said 61 billion in this financial year to do an election. I think we have quite a number of areas that Kenyans will want their money to be spent on. Mm-hmm. So let us try to create a lean, transparent and accountable elections without necessarily, you know what happens in Kenya. People create fear. And
that's the issue. When there's money enough to sort out that.
When they create fear, now they ask for everything. When somebody has threatened that I'm going to kill you, you will do everything. So I think let us, without putting emotions and fear into this election, let us look critically as to what is actually the cost-effective value to be able to do elections. And then this idea of replacing, I don't know whether they replace systems every 5 years. I think we need to get a bit.
But the question is throwing money at the problem.
But maybe as I finish, there are two components that if we address, it's going to sort the cost: the issue of the legal fees and the issue of the system.
All right, because it's a trust issue. The ballot paper in Kenya has more than 11 security features. And the insistence is that it cannot be even printed in Kenya. It has more security features than even the Kenyan currency that at one point was being printed in Kenya. Definitely it's about trust. Is throwing money at it the best solution? That the more money we spend, the more trust Kenyans will gain in the electoral process? Senator.
Fred, this expenditure is just too high. And regardless of the fact that we need a free and fair election, and we need those security features in ballot papers and the whole system, as it were, we still need to interrogate the expenditure items. Like my friend and colleague DK is saying, I mean, this does not concern just IEBC, legal fees, because this is the monster even in counties. I mean, organizations are losing a lot of money through legal fees. And what all of us need to ask ourselves and all these organizations is, why do they have legal departments? I mean, why do we still keep securing legal services, outsourcing legal services when we have legal departments? Why would IEBC not establish a good legal department, have lawyers who draw a monthly salary and who represents IEBC in any legal matter? Because, you know, the figures that you'll see in legal fees, and like I tell you, even in counties, are obscene figures. You know, hundreds of millions. And then you are left wondering, I mean, why would any particular organization pay that kind of money when they can afford? There are so many lawyers who would be ready to work for a salary. So I think legal fees need to be interrogated, especially with IEBC. The system again, and I do not want to be to engage in plagiarism, but the systems again. Once we establish a system, we should only be able maybe to improve on it, subsequently. We should not keep getting new systems. And you know, we must look at it wholesomely. You know, we have had a very big issue also with the new system, with SHA. I mean, why we have to do away with this tradition or this culture of we must get a new system with every new thing, because it is an avenue of corruption. I mean, so I don't want to fault IEBC and say that they are engaging in corruption, but I think we need to interrogate these expenditure items and really ask hard questions.
I'm still not getting the answer to the issue of trust, because I think, and according to the IEBC chairperson, that is the biggest problem, that our election is too expensive because there's already a lot of mistrust in the process, and they're looking for ways to ensure that they can build confidence, and by that, they end up spending a lot more. For example, this time around, they're even using the biometrics to register voters, just to boost the level of confidence.
But then why, I mean, how much does it cost, and why should it be that expensive? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the age of technology. Fred.
Technology is expensive as well.
It's expensive, yes, but technology is not as expensive as it were, a few years ago, with everything. I mean, the kind of phone, for example, that used to cost this amount of money, of course, it's cheaper now. I mean, with technology, with advancement in technology, I think the costs, and the DK should be able to advise us, because I think he's an IT expert. The costs are supposed to go down. But this is not the only country where, people have to make sure that an election is free and fair. So the issue of trust, and I like what you are saying, that money will not solve the problem of trust.
For example, Senator, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the IEBC to deliver free and fair elections? A credible process.
Well, maybe which IEBC? You know, it depends.
This IEBC.
This IEBC, I have a lot of. I have very low, trust ratio on them.
Why?
Because of the way they were nominated, and we have discussed this before. I mean, there were issues. I don't want to get back because we may not have time.
So even
to the commissioners. Because these are root commissioners. So I may not have a lot of interest in it, but then my interest, my trust in them, but my trust is in the system.
So the system has to be expensive for you to trust the process?
No. You know, the system doesn't have to be that IT system, that technological, that technology. The system, as in, for example, we have a system where the results of the election are determined at the polling station. Mm-hmm. So that regardless of what maybe the commissioners may want to do, but if I have my agents at the polling station, at least I trust that process, that I had agents at the polling station. I mean, they were there, they were present during voting. I also had agents as they were counting. At least I trust that part. But IEBC commissioners, the trust ratio may be low, but generally we should not have a lot of worry about the whole election because it ends at the polling station.
Yet, listening to politicians, and he's one of them, but the other politicians...
And he is also one of them.
Yes, and the other politicians have not done any better to